Our next presenter is Nate. Nate MacLeitch
Hi guys.
is the founder and CEO of QuickBlox, where he builds secure communications and AI solutions for high trust environments. He has 20 plus years of telecom media software and on scalable, developer friendly products. So he mentors startups and is a leader in hands on creativity in Mendocino County, California. Welcome, Nate. The stage is yours.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean Mendocino County. I get a little side hustle of a vineyard growing wine
All
grapes.
right.
So I did that after
We have
another. Yeah. So
we
I
have
grew up
some
in.
plants in the backyard, and I already saw some tiny buds of grapes
Yeah. Yeah.
coming.
Now would be the time, right? You get
Yeah,
all the things starting to grow now. Everything's starting to get green. So I have a little bit more. I've got about 25 acres. So that'll kind of
nice.
keep it a little bit busier. But yeah, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. I was going to chat about QuickBlock. So my background, as you say, has been in technology, media, and communications, dating back to doing media companies and online websites, to early days of SMS and confirmations, moving over to kind of richer media. And so with QuickBlocks, we work predominantly with healthcare and health tech organizations. That's probably about 50% of our customer base. And we provide both real-time communication platforms and a variety of AI tools. So I'll get in my presentation, kind of give you some details on that. Um, so let me just bring up the presentation. Okay, so just maximize it. Okay, so can everyone see?
Yes.
Okay, great. So, what is QuickBlocks? It's basically a communication platform which is designed for safe regulatory communication, and it has an AI communication layer on top of that. So, what does that mean in like common language? So, we provide services like real-time chats, video calling, messages, notifications, and also a variety of kind of engagement related tools. And then on top of that, we also provide a variety of kind of different bridges for communication between multiple parties. So what are those? What are the problems that we're looking to solve? Um, so there's a number of real world challenges we know in healthcare related communication, especially in use of AI. One is that communication is very disjointed across multiple different systems. There's delays, outdated tools. In terms of bringing on care coordination, oftentimes you've got a number of different systems internally and externally, which you have to do to coordinate with the patient and the provider or other people in the care delivery chain. Now you have an increasing amount of time spent on administrative tools, and all these areas kind of drive a lot of additional cost and a lot of additional delays in care delivery. And so what we do is we provide an infrastructure layer so that those who are building healthcare and health tech related solutions, like for instance, if Kate wanted to have the ability to do virtual consultations or have AI agents that would do intake of that kind of information, that we provide the ability to kind of create these agents that can do that and then connect with real-time human beings. So, what are the products that allow us to do that? We have a HIPAA compliant Smart Chat Assistant. This provides an AI agent, which is HIPAA compliant, which basically can be programmed with the ability to kind of ask questions, do some sort of intake. That can be form based, providing details around different conditions or different care. And it can also be free form conversational. So the AI can ask a number of set questions, which can be created by the administrator to go through that. That conversation can then be summarized, and it can be used to create subnodes or even ICD-10 and CPT codes. And then we have an ability to do kind of seamless routing. So that AI intake of that agent, which could sit as a chatbot on a website, could be, within a web application or a website, can basically gather that information and then be routed to an endpoint. And then on top of that, we have another product called Q Consultation, which sits on top of our platform, and that's the virtual engagement layer. So that enables group video calling, enables one-on-one video calling, enables white label teleconsultation and telemedicine. It's currently used for a variety of use cases, including telemedicine, customer care, teletherapy, and can basically be customized to the customer's workflow. And so on the back of these virtual consultations, we're also generating SOAP notes and kind of AI-generated patient-facing summaries, which can be edited by a provider and sent across. And all this technology is basically built on our core platform, which is basically a set of APIs and SDKs, which you can use to embed this functionality into your own application, website, or your services. And because we're API specific driven, it can also be integrated into EHRs or other kind of third-party systems. Services are HIPAA compliant and scalable. We have SOC 2 Type 1 and Type 2 compliance. We have HIPAA compliance, and we're enabling AI communication workflows across our customer base. So what does this mean in practice? With our product, you can use it to create streamlined workflows. So you can consolidate your video, voice, and messaging into kind of one source, enable people to share files. So we have use cases where people can share a photo of a rash, and they can have the AI do some processing of that, send it across to a provider, or they can, book an appointment or have the AI gather some information about their condition or the concerns, and then route that to an admin or principal who can then do it. And so we have basically the ability to do AI-powered automation and secure support. And then the AI agent itself, once it has that information about the visit, you can create a patient-facing summary. You can also schedule reminders and appointments to keep the patient engaged on an ongoing basis. So it's not just patient provider. It can also be patient admin. It can also be admin to admin or doctor to doctor. So for instance, for video consultation use cases through Q consultation, you can have multiple providers join, and in the background, the SOAP notes being generated, which can then be shared with all the participants of the visit. So what sort of customers do we deal with? We deal with other health tech and healthcare companies, so telemedicine and health tech platform providers. We use our tool sets to do that with. Startups oftentimes come on through as well, where they want to have the ability to offer remote or virtual consultation services or some degree of customer engagement. Like actually, earlier this week, I spoke with another startup which wants to provide, menopause-related coaching and services for conditions around that. Also, different customers in behavioral health or other areas. So the product is pretty flexible depending on how you create that workflow and how you train your AI knowledge agent in order to basically help with the intake and answering the questions. And then specialty providers, we have another company we're working with who provides services to a variety of prisons. And so those inmates also need the ability to connect with providers to have consultations to their as well. Mental health services, chronic disease management. We have a customer who's has an organ transplant management platform, and so they have to have care navigation, and then private clinics and practices where they might have AI or knowledge assistants they want to add on the website. So the markets that we tie in are both kind of telehealth and healthcare and communications as a service. So effectively, telehealth is going to continue to grow over the next decade, and then AI and healthcare, I think we're just really scratching the surface. You see a lot of things with the bridge and the scribe capabilities, but I think really what the transformation that's going to be substantial to drive additional value is really about the whole workflow and about the care delivery, because really the scribe is just really one element. So if you can engage the end user and gather the information you need, manage the workflow, route that user to the right location, and basically enable more seamless care delivery with existing tools, that will unlock a lot of efficiency and value of the market. So yeah, I mean, healthcare, as we know, is a multi-billion-dollar market. In terms of our business model, we provide our services as SaaS. So people will sign up, either use our AI assistants or use our white label telemedicine products or use our backend platform. And it's on a monthly subscription services. We have secure HIPAA environments, so we can deploy our software within the customer's own app and services. So product managers can basically add these capabilities to their app quite easily. Currently, most of our targeting is at health tech, less healthcare, but we are getting increasingly more healthcare providers who want to create agentic workflows and have AI assistants who do issues around intake for their clinic or some sort of triage type services, which then get mapped through to their existing business processes. And so, yeah, just to kind of give you the summation. So Q consultation is low, no code, white label telehealth video consultation. The Smart Chat Assistant are HIPAA compliant AI agents that you can train up and create your own agentic workflows. And we have a platform that all supports this programmatically. So in terms of different use cases, secure chat for an online transportation platform. We've got another customer who's using it for partnering with sports clubs. So they're creating a network where sports organizations and clubs who may not have access to on-demand trainers or telehealth facilities can use it to do things like concussion assessments through assistance with the coach, connecting them to a live healthcare professional if they need to have some real-time support. So it's just not AI driven, but really the human AI workflow. And then other kind of established companies like Teledoc use it for messaging and communication within their application. So I have a demo, but one of the things I was maybe going to highlight instead is what we kind of see right now is really, and I don't want to go into too much detail, but Wall Street Journal put an article out recently about the rise of the health Sherpa. And I think this is actually a fundamental change that we're seeing across our customer base and our leads about the move from kind of standard telehealth to like a whole guided care delivery model. And I think Kate's presentation kind of hits on that as well. I mean, effectively, these are 5-minute visits, but they don't really solve the problem. So what we see increasingly with the ability of AI to engage with patients and end users is the ability to actually create a guided care delivery model. And that's moving from like ad hoc one-off visits to continuous integration. So care isn't just an event; it's actually a managed journey. And then kind of coming to that, we see that the consumerization of healthcare, and where you kind of see that most, I think, is where customers are willing to pay for weight loss, hormone therapy, menopause, longevity, wellness, mental health. So these are all markets that are all consumerizing reasonably quickly, and AI is kind of unlocking some of these tools through care delivery to do that. And also, I think the other big trend that we're seeing, because our tools are embedded in a variety of different products, is that insurance is no longer the default. You have basically the rise of effectively more lifestyle, concierge, integrated medicine, and that market's expected to grow 23% year on year. So combined with the tools that we provide, we're basically enabling the creation of these kind of care navigation experience through video, voice, AI, and messaging so that customers can integrate these workflows into their own organizations and create kind of a comprehensive care delivery model through the use of AI and communication technology. So that's kind of really it. Happy to answer any questions and kind of take it from there.
Great. Thank you very much, Nate. Yeah, so one of the things that I see is that as we go more and more into AI, and I can see that it takes up a lot of the churn that happens because, they join or, a patient comes in and they don't get the right care at the right time. And I can see the value here where you're managing the patient and also getting all the information in and out. Um, do you see, and this is a philosophical question, I guess, do you see a time when EHRs will become less and less important?
So, I mean, we traditionally haven't sat in the HR business. We've sat in the communication and the AI business. But I
Yeah.
think the short answer is yes, because there are now increasing tools. I mean, like right now, if a customer uses our product and wants to integrate with their EHR, there are APIs out there that we can connect to any EHR very quickly and easily. So, like, we can still do the triage with the patient. We can have the chat, the intake. They can have the virtual visit, and then all that information can be sent by by API to that EHR, whether they're using Athena Health or Epic or wherever. But you do see companies like Epic who obviously have got a passive hold in the market kind of pushing these tools outwards, right? So they're wanting to engage more to the patient layer as well. So I do think that the EHR in some respects, especially if you're doing concierge or lifestyle related medicine use cases where it's will probably necessarily not own the whole customer engagement. But in cases where you have, chronic conditions or large university systems or, ongoing care, companies like Epic will certainly, own that as well as continue
Yeah.
out towards the actual engagement layer of the patient itself, right?
Are you seeing more traction from startups and new models of care versus the traditional practices?
I
Or
think traditionally
is it
our
even?
roots have been more on the health tech rather than the healthcare. So yeah, by nature that means typically startups or companies along those lines who want to kind of build this engagement layer have been more of our customer base. But that being said, I mean we are seeing large organizations as well who are taking those steps on kind of AI enablement to triage and intake to care delivery. And because our tool is modular, they can take certain aspects of our platform and still have it tie in with their software, their workflows. Um, but yeah, I think for us, we would probably want to be chatting with probably more of the kind of the legacy healthcare organizations and probably less with the startups because we already have those guys and we're building solutions for them. Whereas kind of the more established systems would probably be more
They
helpful
don't
for
have
us
that.
to have more conversations with.
Got it. Got it. Gary has a question, and then Alana.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for that presentation. So, when you look at this area, two concepts come to mind. One, and Uli brought it up, is capturing the content and better engaging with the patient, right? Because we're all busy. It's very much an assist device. It's not going
Yeah.
to diagnose, but it's going to better interface with the patient, and then the opportunity to potentially down the line engage the patient better when it comes to engaging them in their own treatment plan, right?
Yeah.
But the question is that the concept that I'm hearing a lot when I listen to a lot of different startups in this space is the idea of the quote unquote term emotional intelligence, right?
Mhm.
Um, so one of the biggest problems for all of us when we collaborate, with patients, the collaborative encounter is
Yeah.
everybody's different. Everybody receives data differently, processes data differently. And I'm starting to hear a lot of is platforms like yours that are coming about that not only are they improving the ability to more frequently collaborate with the patient and engage them, but it also over time learns about that particular patient and how that particular patient receives information and follows information when it's presented in a certain way. Are you doing anything like that as well?
So in our Q consultation app, we have already kind of like a history of appointments and visits. And so you can take a longitudinal view of what's going on there. We already have, so no patient-facing generation out of those visit history, and we can effectively amalgamate those visits into a summary about, what's going on with this patient and their history and their details. And it might not even be a patient, it could also be a customer, right? Because even though healthcare is a substantial portion of our customer base, it could also just be, hey, what happened on this date is some sort of narrative or some sort of detail. And then obviously we can generate a summary for a provider or admin staff to be able to view that and read it in one words. We have obviously the video history as well. Coming to your point about the emotional intelligence piece, yeah. So I mean, as the AI is doing intake of information, um, there's obviously that's a pretty key area that you want to make sure it gets right. So I think forms in AI should still be pretty heavily constrained in my view. I'm personally still a little uncomfortable with the idea of having kind of free form. And then the other area in terms of like the emotional IQ and the rest of it, I mean, we already have some capabilities where if you use the messaging layer, you can have the AI rewrite your message. You can dictate the tone that you want it out, so professional or the rest of it. But an AI is not going to substitute for genuine human empathy or emotion, right? Because whatever they communicate to you is just going to be what's in their programming. So I do think that some of the sycophantic AI interactions can be problematic. I think avatars should be, pretty down the line. I mean, maybe you can have some personality flourishes, but I don't think the technology's at the level. I mean, I think you can take sentiment analysis, flip it around. Like you can see the interaction in the chat of the user, and you can do some processing on that and say, okay, this is a bad experience, or have the human provide some sort of review. Like we have a conversation with another company. It's not a live deal yet, but they want to use it for an intake process, and then they want to see, well, did we do well? Did the AI answer the questions correctly? Is the customer happy or not? So the AI can be done that way, but I think actually in the delivery of the healthcare itself, I think we should probably still be a little bit more by the book, but maybe that's a little bit contrarian on some of the prevailing ideas about technology being a panacea for all this, right?
Good point. Good point. All right, Alana, go ahead, ask your question.
Hey, yeah. So, I started out life in neurosurgery, and we would have overnight, patients. I was in Minnesota. We would have overnight patients being flown in from South Dakota, North Dakota, and shockingly, we just literally were taking pictures of a screen to show, historical hydrocephalus data or the aneurysm or whatever. And so that was back in 2013. I didn't finish my neurosurgery residency, but I recently went back to do an anesthesia residency, and I was actually shocked to find that that's basically still happening, right? Because and it's interesting because I don't really understand why that's the case. But when I've spoken with people who I really respect, faculty at different institutions that I think should be in this innovation, a lot better. Everyone's talking about AI dealing with radiology and replacing radiologists, but that assumes that you actually have the images, right? But
Yeah.
how can you start to collect that data if you can't transmit the image? So I'm just wondering, are you in this at all, like in terms of being able to communicate these things?
Well, I mean, our communication, the core platform, like the apps we build on top of the core communication platform, can do any kind of messaging or file sharing or the rest of
Yeah.
it. So, like, you could share like any kind of documents and do
Yeah.
that between participants. That could be stored within, cloud storage. People could access that information anywhere. But like
Yeah.
a lot of, where we sit, being kind of more on the technology provider side, it's really, I mean, how people want to, put these use cases into
Yeah.
real
Well, and
practice.
what I was really
Yeah.
asking, not to interrupt you, was do you have a solution for sharing that data? Because right now, when you're looking at someone's EMR, we're not, I can't go into an Epic in Wisconsin, right? I'm sitting in New York City right
Yeah.
now. I can't, but I can do share care everywhere, right? Or I can access different things. But what's in those files is actually just the radiology read. It's text. It's
Yeah.
not the complex images that for a surgeon we need, right? Like we're looking at the images. I'm not looking at the radiology read. So you haven't really necessarily explicitly tackled that, I'm sure, but are you
Yeah, I mean, the,
seeing
the
that?
issue on that is it's all about, like really when you're talking about APIs integrations, like what data do you have
Yeah.
access to? Like
Yeah.
if you have access to files, you can share them, right? Um,
Yeah.
and most of our use cases, are really about intake, triage,
Yeah.
telemedicine,
Yeah.
human handoff, or
So it's still going to
agents
be
that can do
narrative.
stuff.
It's going to be
So
more narrative stuff. Yeah.
yeah, but I mean, you can still do, I mean, like there are models that you can do, obviously analysis of images, but there's some very, very, very good AI models out there. But like we have another customer of ours actually uses they're called Concert AI or Terra Recon, and they're very big in the
Hmm.
AI image processing space. And we don't do anything to do with the imaging stuff, but they just need the basic communication layer. So like, hey, AI
Yeah.
recommends this. How do the
Right.
two radiologists see that image, and then do they agree and
Right.
communicate?
Right. Which is a different
Yeah.
use case from what I'm talking about. But yeah, that's
And your use
interesting.
case is
Yeah.
like, how do you get the core file from?
I mean, just literally,
Yeah,
I would
and
like the image. Yeah.
and unfortunately, that's really down to the HR choosing not to allow you to get
Yeah.
access
Have
to that
the yeah,
ultimately,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah. And it's
Which is not a
interesting
good thing,
because
I don't think,
no,
right?
it's not, right? It's not because that's almost useless, right? It's almost useless for a surgeon to get someone else's read who's not a surgeon on a pathology that might be
Yeah,
rare or acute and you want to, see how it evolves.
yeah.
But okay. No, it's
But it
really
seems
helpful.
like if people have got access, because I know the law now, you can access to your medical records, I mean, maybe there needs to be some enforcement that people can get access to their imagery and all the other details as well, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
then if it's an API, a company like
Yeah.
ours or any other company could then access it because you
Yeah.
shouldn't be ring fenced because they're just one
Right.
EHR.
And
If
when I
that
was
is a
trying to solve this problem
right?
like 10 years ago, everyone was like, oh, those files are just so big. And, now things have changed, right? We
Yeah,
have a
yeah.
lot more technology that can access things differently than it did. And I'm not the technical person in my company, so
Yeah,
I'm
no,
sure.
I don't think the size of the file is the problem.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
I think
That's
if someone
that's
doesn't want to get you access.
Yeah.
even then that was just an excuse,
Yep.
and
Exactly.
there'll
Exactly.
be more excuses.
Yeah.
Let's get to
Thanks.
Himani. Hold on, Gary. Himani, what was your question?
Hey, this is very exciting presentation, Nate. I must say it's going to be like very helpful, especially the part that we can read the radiologist values and without even knowing it. So my question is around safety. Like if, we are talking about it being in triage, so is it like if the like patient uploads any information like that's a red flag or any symptom like chest pain, is it going to end that AI and like directly hand over the patient or do something like that? Because sometimes AI can hallucinate. So
Oh, well, no, AI does hallucinate, right? I mean, I think that's a given. So like how
mhm,
we're doing it with because we're building out agentic workflows at the moment, we're seeing every interaction as being its own independent node. So
mhm,
like if someone's in the middle of a chat and they're about to have a virtual consultation and say, hey, I got a chest pain and shortness of breath, you should
mhm,
be able to have some AI processing that says, hey, that could be a heart event. Call 911 is like an output. And in terms of on file sharing, if people upload any kind of doc, they're in it. But we're still, I won't say our platform is at the point yet where, we can kind of create like a real-time red flag. I think there's certain triage
okay,
logic that we can build in there and you can kind of create your workflows. So like what questions do you want the AI to ask? Like, is it form
yeah,
based?
mhm,
The bot or the voice asking the question and then pull together a summary. But there still needs to be, the medical professional who's going to basically say, hey, this is a red flag event, or maybe have them do some standardized forms as part of the AI intake where they're doing maybe if you're looking to see if they've got postnatal depression that they're doing an Edinburgh scale or something, right? So that you can actually
mhm,
take some real measures. So I do think that all these forms that already exist today increasingly need to be brought into these AI systems so your friendly AI can still chat with you, but ultimately you still need to capture that information with the end user. And we're probably more the technologists and implementers, so we'd want to work with the client or the customers to make sure that those are the
Right.
correct questions to be asked, right?
yeah, and I guess one thing that comes to my mind around it is like maybe triggering some red flag. Like if these questions are like it may be like connected to something like where it can trigger to another medical professional. Like whenever this question is being asked, like some red flag or a trigger or alarm,
Yeah, so
something
we
like
so we're
that.
building out that logic where
Hmm.
exactly as you say, some answer comes in, then you can put some routing or some logic against that,
Hmm.
right? And that could be like, I mean, it could be as simple as, hey, this needs to go on our
Hmm.
customer outreach database so they get a notification to do something, or it could be, hey, this is a kind of a big event. You need to connect someone
Yeah.
live right now, right? Because we do have some customer use cases where it's like a command center where okay,
Uh-huh.
answered this question. Now let's route them through to someone who's online right then who can help them.
Okay.
But yeah, I
Okay.
think it's a great question, and I mean that's kind of how we kind of see it developing new because these agentic workflows, like when everyone talks about like
Yes.